Okay, and Corner to Corner is live. And 5.
I'm so excited.
I was counting it in. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. I'm Stan Grubb. My tag team partners, Brian Taylor, is here.
What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not much. I'm doing all right.
Good deal, good deal. And of course, our tag team partner, Rob Hefner, is here. What's up, Rob?
Who? I say.
Audience members may be asking that. You may remember Rob Hefner from such podcasts as Corner to Corner 4 weeks ago.
Or Corner to Corner. That's it. After Dark. It's the only two ones. I've never done any others.
Well, didn't you do a guest spot on the Diego DeVore at some point? Was that just me and Brian?
It was just you two. I did a Shooter's Gallery a couple times.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did Shooter's Gallery with Eddie. That's cool. Yeah. Eddie still does that from time to time. He doesn't do it as often as he used to. He stays pretty busy. But, folks, we're live right now through C2CRadioshow.com, Spreaker.com/corner to corner, and, of course, all of your favorite podcast distribution sites. Big news to announce by the end of the show. Excitement coming up in 2 weeks for you guys, but we're not going to announce it just yet, like I said, at the end of the show. But it's interesting because here we are. Brian says he's got something for us, Rob. I don't know what he's got. He says he knows. And he said, let me just pull this up. I want to read this quote because I actually thought it was pretty funny. I'm jacking the first segment.
No. You're not going to like jack me when I told you I'm jacking you. You know what I'm saying?
The floor is yours, sir.
So let's play a game, right? We all love these little what-if scenario things we do from time to time, right?
Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
All right. So let's you two, one at a time.
You two.
Tell me
You guys.
how we get to WrestleMania 40, and we'll just use the information we have with The Rock versus Roman Reigns. How do we get there, gentlemen? One at a time.
Rob, you want to go first?
All right.
It is a tough task either way. So go ahead and I'll follow your lead.
Well, the angle I'm thinking that would be me, I would think, would be with the bloodline fractured and different parts and pieces, you know, the bloodline's kind of getting like the NWO was at the end, where there was this faction, this person, and this person. I say that Roman wages war on, let's say, Cody. You know, to put that to bed. He's like, you know what, I'm taking you out because you're a threat, blah-da-da. But then he keeps making missteps. And Cody beats him in a non-title match or something like that. And then that's when on SmackDown, he's sitting there going, you know, he's yelling at all the bloodline. You all let me down. I'm the tribal chief. You all let me down. You all let it down. Then here hits the mic. Bam. And The Rock comes back. And then The Rock just says basically, I don't think you have what it takes to be the tribal chief anymore. As you can see, you can't keep your people in line. People are leaving. You're losing. It's my turn. And that's how you get to WrestleMania.
Okay. Let's see. It is end of September coming into October. So, Brian, I assume with this question, we're taking it from today, correct?
Yeah. How do we get to WrestleMania? So that's
Okay.
today forward.
Well, I'd like to thank Cody for his promo tonight before we went on the air, because he started how I would typically start it, where he makes the hint going back to WrestleMania 39's post show press conference, where Heyman and Roman were saying that this is only the third inning. Well, Cody started tonight by saying, "Hey, looks like we're not in the third inning anymore, boys." My guess is how we get there is it's going to start by Cody first moving to SmackDown in exchange for Jey Uso. That's probably what he was alluding to tonight with that promo. The next thing that'll happen is he's going to be on SmackDown, but he's going to have a filler feud, probably with Drew McIntyre. And they're not really honoring the brand extension right now, so I figure they're going to carry this over to SmackDown. While that's going on, much to Rob's point, Roman's going to continue to sow the seeds of dissension between himself, Jimmy, and Solo. All the while, Paul Heyman's going to be giving him advice to stay away from Cody Rhodes. We're going to get to Survivor Series. Somehow at Survivor Series, Cody is going to become number one contender, either at Survivor Series or right near it. So that by the time we get to the Royal Rumble, it's going to be Roman and Cody, match 2. I don't think that Roman loses it at Rumble, though. So to Rob's point, he says he loses it to Cody in a non-title. I could see that, but I actually think that Roman and Cody is going to have 3 matches total. The second match is at the Rumble. And after Cody has yet again been cheated out of a victory, this time by, we'll just say Solo and Heyman and Jimmy, just all 3 of them. Roman is saying there's nobody left, kind of like what Kenny Omega did before Bryan Danielson debuted in AEW. There's nobody left. Nobody can touch me. I'm going back to Hollywood. And they'll do kind of like they did at Money in the Bank, where The Rock comes out to confront Roman. Much to Rob's point, I don't think you have what it takes to be the head of the table. You've not led my family, that's for sure. And that starts sowing those seeds. Elimination Chamber comes. Cody gets one last chance to win a shot at Roman Reigns. And he'll do it. That's night 1 of WrestleMania. Night 2, because The Rock has intervened against Roman in multiple facets. We'll say promos, we'll say whatever. Night 2, it's Rock and Roman for the title of Tribal Chief.
So who wins night 1?
Cody. That's if they don't have him win the Roman consolation prize from Seth instead. I mean, the World Heavyweight title.
So that's as long as he doesn't become the Sid Justice?
Right, exactly.
All right. I mean, I guess they're okay, right? In their own individual ways.
Okay.
Yes, they're okay. I don't see Cody touching it. I mean, I could see him getting a match out of it, but I don't see Cody being the guy that beats Roman. I think it plays out a little bit different. And again, this is where what if comes into play, right? So the other night, of course, Jimmy and Solo beat up John Cena, right?
That's right.
Cena needs help, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Who better than his old buddy The Rock to come help? And then as we move to the end of October, I think that's when Roman's supposed to come back.
Makes sense. That's building towards Survivor Series.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard is he should be back towards the end of October. Now here's where it's going to get fun and interesting, right? So we can all say safely, I think, that the bloodline storyline has lost its luster,
Yeah, I would agree.
right? It's kind of slowing down a little bit, and your big storyline, and it's just not that fantastic anymore. So how about we spice it up a little bit? How about it's Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, night 2?
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to flip the script. The Rock, by this time, will have assumed control of the bloodline.
Ooh.
And Roman will become the face of the WWE.
Wow. You're saying a double turn.
Yes.
Holy Snikes. Okay.
It's one of these things where Paul Heyman's smart enough to have The Rock enter the Royal Rumble
Mm-hmm.
and win the Royal Rumble. That way you solidify the championship because it stays in the family.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's a better bad guy than The Rock, right? I mean, even Roman, while was good at being the tribal chief, I don't think comes close to The Rock.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
So at the Rumble, or right after the Rumble, The Rock assumes control of the bloodline.
Hmm.
And then because he won the Rumble, he gets a shot at WrestleMania. And we use the whole, well, you should just lay down for me thing. And about 2 weeks prior to WrestleMania, Roman gets dumped on his head by the bloodline. And based off the other little rumors where the Roman might be on his way out,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of those going around.
Yep.
The Rock would then win at WrestleMania, only to then go into the feud with Cody. And Cody beats The Rock and not Roman Reigns for that title.
Jeez. That would be huge. Wow. I like that idea, Brian. That's actually really cool. Tell me something. When did this hit you?
Last night.
Last night. Okay.
Or whenever I sent that text.
Yeah, I think that was last night.
Mm-hmm.
Got me scrolling. Yeah, last night.
So it would then all work out in the end, right? So Roman wouldn't lose to Cody.
Right.
Which then still then gives Roman the edge somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock is clearly a better heel than Roman.
Yep.
Cody beating The Rock for the title would be, I think, bigger for Cody than Cody beating Roman.
That'd be freaking gigantic for Cody, like to beat The Rock. Especially since with The Rock going into that story as a heel, I mean, The Rock is obviously a great heel, but I could really see him taking kind of his Hollywood Rock phase and kind of intermingling that with the tribal chief aspect of things. That could be really good, really good.
Because I think if Roman stays the tribal chief over The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
The Rock's he's going to be held back. But if The Rock assumes control,
Right.
then they could. I mean, you got what, 6 months?
Well, plus it refreshes Roman.
Something. Yes. And again, there's not really been a better bad guy in the WWE since The Rock was there. can't really count Austin. I mean, I guess you could, but he's kind of them tweeners.
Yeah. And even he said it was a mistake for him to be heel.
Who, Austin?
Yeah, when he turned in WrestleMania 17.
Well, I kind of look at Austin as like Bray. You know, when Bray Wyatt came out, everybody's like, woo! And then he's like, turns, it's like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're always up against the establishment, man.
So I just thought it was kind of interesting. It was too long to try and put it on a text.
I think that's a really cool angle to it, because
And nobody's going to see it coming.
No, they won't. And you need some way to re-energize people behind Roman after Mania, because 40. I mean, okay, I get the record-breaking aspect of what they want, but if you go through WrestleMania 40 expecting his heel run to continue at that top level, people are just gonna lose interest. That's a long time for anybody to be atop of anything. So this way, a face Roman Reigns, a guy that has to do the chase all over again. That's good. That's actually really good stuff. Cody beating The Rock, that's huge. I mean, that is bigger than him beating Roman, because one, it obviously, right, it's The Rock, but two, it's like you said, if he doesn't beat Roman, then Roman's got somebody to chase back to, and it also puts the rubber match, or the match number 3. Cody never beat him. Can he finally do it? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I was just fooling around last night and saw Cena get jumped, and I was like, wait a second here. That's a little sus right there.
Well, here's the thing. Today, I don't know if you guys saw the news, but guess what's unofficially ending today?
The strike.
That's right. The SAG-AFTRA strike. The writer's strike.
Just the writer's strike. The SAG-AFTRA strike's still going on.
Well, wasn't the SAG-AFTRA based off of the writer's strike? So if the writers are going back to work, wouldn't the actors go back to work as well? Or do you think it stretches out longer anyway?
No.
Different unions?
They want, and different things.
Okay.
The biggest thing they're going against is revenue from streamers.
Yeah.
Because,
okay.
Because say you star on, let's say you're on a sitcom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that sitcom gets in certain syndication. It's an NBC show, and then NBC sells it to HBO Max or wherever in syndication. Well, you get a check. But if you make that show and it's on Netflix,
you don't get anything.
You get one check when you make it. You don't get, even if it's streamed or viewed a million times, you don't get nothing. And that's one big thing they're going against. Plus the fact that some people are using AI and how, like, they used, Carrie Fisher after she was dead. They finished the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more and more of that happening, and the actors are like, nope.
Right.
But they say that the strike, they're saying that now that the writer's strike is done, there's a good chance that this strike will end sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I think, though, with the residuals coming into play, this could go on a little bit longer. Because I would imagine for some people, you're talking a hefty chunk.
Well, the labor agreement hasn't changed since the 70s.
Yeah.
So the actors are like, all the people behind the camera haven't gotten their wages haven't increased too much since the 70s. So they're like, the actors are even coming out saying, yeah, I'm doing all right. I can pay my bills, but these other people.
But go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so while that's true for like your A-list, your other ones, that's not quite the case. Because I've seen a few actors on Facebook or YouTube, and they'll sit there and they'll open their residual checks just to like prove the point. And they may have a stack of them, and they may have 20, 25 envelopes of residual checks of stuff they've been on. And, not to say that they don't have money squirreled away in the bank, but when you open, I wish I could remember who the actor was. I forget who it is. Again, he's not an A-list, but he's been in enough that you would know him if you saw him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he opens up his residual checks, and it might be $10, might be $5, it might be, for each individual check for the 20 different shows that are on streaming services. And I'm like, I feel your plight, and I guess something's got to change. But I think in the same sense that when you do that, the whole business is going to change. So you got to kind of be prepared for what's to come.
Right. Like, I remember watching a video just similar like that you're talking about with writers. And the guy was like, here's a residual check from one episode of Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $200. And then the guy's like, here's an episode of a show that $25. And it's like, damn, it takes a lot of those checks to make a mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm. Especially in California or New York
Well, and one of the issues they were saying is one of the issues they were having from the beginning is the CEOs of Netflix make $350 million a year. Like the co-CEOs, they make over $350 million a year, and they're like, obviously, the Netflix is making money, But then, you look at Netflix. Netflix will say, "Oh, we're not making any money because people are sharing their passwords." Disney Plus, like Bob Iger comes out, Disney CEO, and says Disney Plus doesn't make any money. That it's a negative venture.
Yeah, I read that article today.
Well, and they're saying that's why they're trying to explain why they're going to put ads on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't pay for the premium, now the movies like the Avenger movies or whatever are going to have commercials on them. And it's it's all about money. It's all about greed. This whole strike, the people who should get the money because they create it aren't getting the money.
Do you guys think that professional wrestlers should be part of SAG?
Man, I don't know. Because next, then you're moving into football or baseball or basketball
Well, here's the reason I ask. So, obviously, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, right, is what it is. Many performers out there, including retired guys that are active, consider themselves as also to be actors. And the transition happens a lot with the successful ones. They go into commercials, TV, movies, etc. Not all of them, right? But some of them. We'll put it like that. So we know that the attempt to unionize professional wrestling failed, and it's failed a couple of times. So wouldn't it stand to reason that they would be able to join SAG because of what they do? Because essentially, although it's never happened in my lifetime, I don't know if you guys could tell me otherwise, but wrestling's never won an Emmy.
Yeah, but
it could get nominated, couldn't it?
It's been nominated.
Yeah, I think Rob could answer this question a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
But if they're in the commercials or the movies, they're
Right.
part of SAG, right, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, in order to be in movies and stuff like that, you have to be a member of SAG-AFTRA at a certain level
Mm-hmm.
to make it. Like to be in like The Miz, like when he was in the Marine, like
Mm-hmm.
after certain ones, depending on because like that's also depending on the actors that are in the movie with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that have the bigger movie stars are SAG-AFTRA movies. You know, now could they have made a movie with WWE pictures? But in order to use certain unions, everybody has to be union. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why they stopped going to Madison Square Garden, because it costs so much because it's a union building.
Right. And only
You
union
know,
employees can set up or tear down and etc.
right? And so, like, and I know some people I know that have been SAG,
Mm-hmm.
have said that they're like, you know, SAG's union, no matter where you're at. I mean, obviously, not everybody gets paid the same wages. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you're not walking in making Tom Hanks money.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but SAG dictates what you have to be paid, and helps you in that way of making sure everybody gets at least something about it.
Aren't you a member of
Now,
SAG?
Huh?
Aren't you a member of SAG?
No, I was no like I thought about it. I came
Mm-hmm.
close, but but I would beg to believe that most of your higher level at WWE at least are a member of SAG. But the thing is, they write their own stuff, you know. So
I mean, they've got writers, they've got producers, they've got directors.
yeah, but none of them, I don't think any of them were on the picket line.
no, and that's the
No.
thing, because see, they keep going every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
look at hell, like, well, who was it? Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore were like, we're going to go back to work because our people need to make money,
Right.
because our workers are not making money. And the union was like, the hell you are.
Right.
So,
Well,
I mean,
Stephen Amell,
I was
he was
thinking, but
supporting it. Well, people, he was supporting going back to work.
who?
Stephen Amell.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at like Mayim Bialik. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't host Jeopardy. The other guy can because he's not SAG.
Right.
You know, so like Mayim Bialik couldn't even host Jeopardy because in solidarity for everybody on that. Because once, you know, it's like once somebody strikes, everybody strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying how they're going to film this season of Jeopardy was they were just going to start recycling clues from previous episodes. They weren't going to write new stuff. They would just recycle old clues. But I mean, like I kind of contradicted my own statement earlier with saying I would say some of them are members of SAG, but I mean, it's a performance art. I can see what you're saying. It's a performance art, just like the stage and the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It has the athletic component of like the NFL.
Well, and that's a good point. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that. Go ahead and finish your point, and I'll say what I have to say.
No, I was saying, I mean, I can see them, you know, but the way, I think WWE has won Emmys in the past, like, you know, but yeah, I mean, I can see what you mean about like, could they be? I mean, I find them more performance than sport,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Like, AEW, on the other hand, is more sport than acting. You know, like they focus more on wrestling. Like right now, you got Seth Rollins prancing in the ring in Becky's outfit again. So like you wouldn't see that, at AEW. AEW wouldn't do that. So that's more performance than sport. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
What? And here's the other thing too about the WWE. Like, if you had to pay them residuals,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think about that for a minute.
Well, and that's also a good point. So Chris Jericho, much like you were describing with some of the actors that have opened their residual checks, he opened one of his from like some pay-per-view he's still on the network on, and it was like 12 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's under peanuts. And Rob mentioned something that I thought was a really good point, and after what we saw this past week on Dynamite, it kind of stuck out to me, which is kind of why I asked the question. So, first off, the NFL pays their players, even the rookie guarantee, the rookie minimum, isn't that like $400,000 annually? It's something like that. It's a pretty decent number. Now, granted, most of the expense of everything that happens off the field, the player handles and the team handles whatever happens on the field. Much like professional wrestling, where if a wrestler is injured in like WWE or AEW, if they're injured in the ring, most times that company will cover it because they were a contractor at the time doing their job in the ring. But if they get hurt at home, then it's kind of on their own dime. Obviously, there's downside guarantees. There's some of the things that Maven Huffman, for example, has done a great job on his YouTube, former Tough Enough winner, talking about how pay works in WWE, whether you're on pay sheets or you're getting your minimum guarantee, your downside, which pay sheets is basically getting paid a portion of the house every single week versus, just getting your guarantee and that's it. So looking at it like that, and then watching this past week's Dynamite where, thankfully he is okay, but Jon Moxley had a matchup with Rey Fenix, gets a tombstone piledriver, a seated tombstone piledriver the first time, just jars his head and neck into the mat. Referee goes 1, goes to 2, almost to 3, and then he stops in an attempt, what a lot of people have described as an attempt to protect Mox. I'm not sure I understand that, so I might have to ask one of you guys to explain that part. But basically, he's trying to check what I thought was check on Mox, and then Phoenix picks him back up again and does the same damn move, and he almost hits him on the head again doing that same move. And it just made me think. See, I thought so too. From the angle that the second shot was in, I thought maybe he did too. He certainly did with the first one. With the second one, it looked awful close. But it made me think, these guys, we got the strike going on for writers and actors right now, and these guys are out there. They don't have protection unless they're with a big company like AEW, WWE, maybe Impact. I don't know if they do the same.
I think AEW is the only one that really protects them somewhat.
That's what I've gotten the impression from some of the performers. Like when they talk about, like when Statlander talks about her leg injury, she was gone for almost 12 months. That's physical therapy, that's gym time, that's all of that. So she was getting paid her contract guarantee and medical expenses, which I think at WWE, it's the minimal of the two. Because weren't there a couple of guys that got hurt under their agreement, and they only paid like a real small portion of their medical?
AEW, I think, pays medical. I think that was part of the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't think the WWE does. They might, but I don't know if they. I don't recall ever hearing that.
Depends on where you are.
Well, I mean, yeah, it depends on where you are in the card. But I've also remember there's been a few people in the WWE history that got hurt and then they got canned while they were hurt.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so then they're like, all right, I'm hurt. Now I'm unemployed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then a lot of them have to cut their rehab short because they need to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it does help that Tony Khan's family owns a sports franchise, you know, so
Right.
it kind of helps that, you know, he has that medical base already. But you would think a company as big as WWE would do that.
Yeah, but
And I
they
know where
don't.
you're going with this is like, should the wrestlers unionize and have a union for protection? Sorry, Brian, you were saying something.
No, I said, but the WWE doesn't. A lot of times it just doesn't appear they give two shits.
Well,
Well, they
that's the
don't
glaring.
because
Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to say they don't because like they've shown in the past. I mean, this last week is example of what they do. They announced the $1 billion deal for SmackDown, and then they cut people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They said the pandemic was a problem, and they cut people. Like in a time where Tony Khan's like, "Hey, just circle the wagons, guys. We're going to pay you something,"
Mm-hmm.
you know. But time and time again, it's shown you Vince will chew people up and spit them out. I mean, look how many wrestlers they have used and used and used, going all the way back. I mean, I'm talking like Legion of Doom, you know. Even before that, like we all know that with Legion of Doom, Hawk has his enemies, you know, his demons. And so what happened? Hawk went to rehab. Vince walks in, looks at Animal, going, "You might as well pack your stuff up. I don't need you anymore. Go home." No, hey, no, nothing, no. You're out of a job, you know,
Yeah.
because that's one reason why they say they're independent contractors, because they can be fired at any time. You know, NASCAR's the same way. They got contracts, but they'll fire them at any moment.
And I don't think AEW looks at them as independent contractors. Because Tony Khan has come out and said that I'll pay your contract out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not going to do what Vince and them do. You know, there's been several people that, you know, have been on the roster for 8 months and you ain't seen them in 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden their contract's up because he's paying them. Tony Khan's he's come out and said, I'm not going to do that. I'll pay out the contract.
Well, I think you can look at the release of CM Punk as a good example of that, because how did he word the release of Punk? It wasn't just releasing him from his contract. He was releasing him as an employee. Tony Khan is very specific in his word choice when he talks about new hires and new signings and stuff. He refers to his people as employees, not contractors.
Well, it's because they're used to the business world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Vince's cronies learned as they went. You know, to very much the point, Vince still tried to run the WWE as a small family-owned organization,
right?
When in fact it needed the framework that AEW has had from the beginning. You know, because people know, yes, it's the buck stops with Tony Khan, but there's a here and there that it can happen. You know what I mean? Like with Vince, it was, you know, he could walk in, like, you know, like right now they got Ricochet on TV. Ricochet's got crutches on. I don't know whatever's going on, but look, then boom, Vince could come in going, "You know what, Ricochet? I've been thinking about it over the weekend. I don't need you anymore. Hit the bricks, kid." And there's nothing they can do about it. Where AEW with CM Punk even said, "You know what? We thought about it. We investigated it. We looked into it. And for the best of our company and for the best of CM Punk, it's time to part ways." Not, "I don't know what you're talking about, but oh yeah, he's gone."
Right.
Can we fire Dom though? I'm tired of looking at his dumbass.
Squirrel.
Well, he's just came on TV, and I'm like, fire him.
He's already fired.
Nobody else find it odd that two of the four belts of NXT are being defended on Raw?
Well, I mean, they fired one of the guys that was going to be going after Dom. They fired Ali, and he was scheduled to take him on NXT No Mercy. So there
They
goes
have
that
no
guy.
mercy.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, I think what you got it, like I was saying a minute ago, is you look at Khan and Khan's family.
Right.
You know, this is not Khan's first foray into something. You know, I know a lot of people have said from the very beginning that he's a rich kid taking his daddy's money to have fun playing wrestling. But his family didn't get their money. No family's going to turn that much money over to the kid that doesn't know how to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he has an infrastructure in business, and you don't, you know, you're in business with people. Want to be in business with people that are going to respect them.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince came up in the whole good old boys, it's my way or no way. And then hell, for 20 years, he had no competition. So he could literally look at you going, and that's what they did. You know, when AEW first popped up, what they do? They bought up all the talent they could so AEW couldn't have them. You know, that's why they start signing these people these ridiculous contracts when there was nowhere for them to go. And you never saw them. Why? Because they just didn't want them over there. So.
Wow, that went a far away from the SAG
I know.
question.
It took a detour, that's for sure.
Yeah, Stan, you need to get your show under control.
Sorry. That's what happens when you let me talk. I'll go back to being quiet.
No. I'd rather you finish a thought than to cut you off. I try really hard not to, but I know we do that sometimes. But I try not to. So you mentioned it, so I wanted to dive into it. 21 different people released by WWE in 2023, including one that happened mere days after the initial 20. September 21st was a tough day for a lot of folks, including, I said it, Mustafa Ali, Aaliyah, Elias, Rick Boogs, Riddick Moss, Top Dollar, Shelton Benjamin, Emma, Dolph Ziggler, which was a surprise to me, Dabba-Kato, I could have cared less, Dana Brooke, Mansoor, and Massey, Quincy Elliott, who was NXT, Shanky, who was NXT, Yelisa Leon, NXT, Kevin Ventura, Cortez, Ike Manjiro, Brooklyn Barlow, Bryson Montana, all NXT talent. And then, of course, the next day, in a completely unrelated release, Matt Riddle.
The only one that I missed will be Dolph Ziggler. Sorry.
Now, obviously,
that's the only one that I was like, ooh, okay. That one I was like, oh wow. Others, I mean, Mustafa Ali, you're right. He was in a series. Kind of wish that would have played out. Everybody else, most of them were the ones that got let go before Triple H came back anyway.
Yeah, they were let go during COVID. Majority of them.
So, I mean, let's not forget it's a new ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm sure whether through the WWE's booking or whatever, maybe they realize that there's no room at the table for them. It's nothing bad. It's a new company.
Right.
I'm sure there's more on the way. I don't think they're going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think the entire NXT show is going to be a casualty before it's all said and done.
Man, that's
The
so funny. I was
entire
thinking that.
show.
I was thinking that the other day. Yeah.
I don't think Dolph is a casualty of the merger. Honestly. I think Dolph is a casualty in the sense that they probably had some knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that he was ready to leave, wanted to leave,
Mm-hmm.
was not going to resign. When his contract, I'd be curious when his contract was up or when he re-signed his contract. I'd be curious on that. And the reason I say this, right, is because his brother,
Mm-hmm.
right, is in AEW. They've also been doing a comedy show together.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a little bit of it. I think it's funny at times. I don't buy into the whole bit, but it's funny,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's been on Being the Elite,
Yep.
which, while it's not technically under the AEW umbrella, it's associated very highly with AEW.
Yeah, it might as well be under there.
I mean, his brother, before this was announced, put up a Photoshop picture of Dolph with the AEW title.
Mm-hmm.
What's his brother's name?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ryan with a title, and then they both had tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I think Dolph, more than anything, was, we're going to give you an out, but we're going to do it on air terms.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, because there's no doubt Dolph had to be very frustrated. I mean, I don't even remember last time he had a good showing on TV.
Maybe his matches with Drew McIntyre. That was what, a few years
I
ago.
mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and there's nothing for Dolph that would show he's not entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
that he can't pop the crowd, that he can't outwork probably 95% of your roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't slowed down a bit.
No, he really hasn't.
And what are you doing with him? Well, you're doing probably with him what you've done with some of the others in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hold on to him for as long as you can. And then again, now that Dolph is kind of already appearing on your competitor's show.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I would imagine he probably put not the feelers, but he probably said, I'm not re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know when his contract's up, when he re-signed or whatever. And so they were like, oh, okay, well, we're going to let you go, but it's going to be on air terms. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to make it look like we did this.
From reports that I've seen, from what I've seen, his contract was set to expire next year. So he wasn't really all that far away from it being up.
Right. And we just don't know when next year.
Right.
But if it's any indication, so if it's between now and next September, October,
mm-hmm.
chances are, because you're in that year window, there's already been some discussion about it. Because a lot of times you'll hear about this where they start discussing contracts going into the final year. I mean, the WWE doesn't miss too many or make too many mistakes like they have in the past, but
yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Like AEW does it, WWE's done it, NFL, like they don't just like, oh, we got a month to go on this contract, let's get this over and done with.
Right.
So I would not be shocked, and he may never say it, right? Who wants to burn a bridge? But you may find out somewhere down the line that Dolph's like, well, I told him I wasn't going to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the new company knows about it, right? They're having board meetings and they're going down rosters, and Vince is like, well, just so you know, he said he's not re-signing. Oh, well, let's get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of names on his level that I would have let go first.
Okay. I'm curious as to who.
Who what?
You said there are people that were on his level that you'd have let go first. I said I was curious.
Oh, I didn't let The Miz go.
Oh, okay.
They're on
Okay.
about the same
I could see
level.
that. Yeah.
Right? Because to me, The Miz has slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same stick.
Yeah.
It's gotten old.
Well,
he's at an age he can't really reinvent himself with so much.
right, and the fact that he's become every special talent's whipping boy.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul. That's just shit. Goes all the way back to Cena and Brie Bella or Nikki Bella. Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying.
I'm surprised we didn't read that R-Truth was let go.
Well, I mean, I would imagine he's probably got a lower tier contract.
Mm-hmm.
And he is willing to play ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I was surprised.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's why I was surprised about Dolph, because Dolph played ball. But again, at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, something tells me there's more to Dolph than just let's cut him loose.
Well, Dolph had to be talked back into re-signing with them. If you recall, wasn't it 17 when he was initially leaving? And they had to kind of coax him into re-signing a contract?
Because
he was going to do comedy tours and stuff?
And that when he did the whole, like, I don't have a gimmick?
Yeah, that was how he wanted to end it. He was ending his run by basically just like, nah, I don't have a gimmick. And remember, he finally won the U.S. title, and then he threw it down and quit. That was what was supposed to be his swan song, and then they re-signed him.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, and again, who knows? Maybe he comes back in and they sign him for. Maybe he comes back for a lesser deal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I for Dolph, once I heard that one didn't shock me at all. Because again, I think Dolph out of any of them probably tried to go out on his own, but because you're dealing with corporations and they always want to get one over on you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, we fired him or we let him go or we didn't, I think he was fired.
Right.
Well, I was thinking about this as y'all were talking and how, Vinnie Mac was sitting there and like, yeah, he looked like, King Dingling at the bell ringing. You know what I mean? Like you have all
Gomez
these people
Adams.
that are business people. Huh?
Said he looked like Gomez Adams.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like he looked like that guy who is just happy to be in the club that he's been trying to get in forever. He's in the club. But what I don't think is, I think what's going to come out to bite him, I think what's going to come out of this is the fact that he's going to realize how much control he doesn't have.
No, Vince has no control whatsoever right now.
Right. And so, like,
None.
It's going to be, I think they're going to have this honeymoon phase where they're like, oh, yeah, okay. Then it's going to be no time for them to be like, they're going to have the meetings and they're going to shut the door in his face.
Well, so while they haven't already shut the door on his face, I think it's the head guy from, was it TKO or whatever? What's the parent company?
It's TKO, yeah. So it's
okay.
it's Ari Emanuel.
Yeah, well, it's somebody that's high up in the company His daughter now works for the WWE.
Yeah.
So if you don't think that she's not in there keeping track of everything that goes on, you're nuts. If you don't think that the only reason why Vince McMahon is there is so they don't lose 1 million viewers in a week, you're nuts. That's the only reason why he is still attached to that show.
Well, the only reason he's there is because of that's the way they could get the deal done. They give him some bullshit contract that keeps him around for a little while. And while they do that, they increasingly take more and more stuff away from him.
Well, yeah, but so I would imagine, just like any good corporation, there is a cause clause where you can be fired for cause, let go for cause, whatever. I will imagine there is that clause in his contract. And the fact that he is under a federal investigation, I will guarantee you violates that clause. I'm telling you, the only reason he is still in that building is so they don't lose 1 million viewers.
Oh, I think you're right. I think they are waiting for legally Vince to be put in a position where he has to be held accountable, and then they're going to release him as soon as it starts.
Yes, you also have to find a home for 2 shows.
Yep.
By this time next year or something like that?
Yeah, about October of next year, Raw is going to have to find a home. NXT is going to have to find a home. SmackDown has a home on NBC Universal, USA. So
yes,
it stands to reason they would protect Raw and likely let go of SmackDown if they had to. Not SmackDown, NXT, sorry.
Right. But out of the 2 companies, UFC and the WWE, who has the more predominant exposure on TV? Regular cable television.
I'm trying to think of where UFC's TV shows aired. Isn't it on ESPN?
I don't know where it is. I know they have one.
Right.
But I don't know where it is. Right? So who's the guy that's put WWE on Fox and USA and all these other channels?
Yeah,
Who's the guy
Vince.
that got it done?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a Vince
So
deal.
you still need Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And if the numbers for tonight are like last week, Vince stays a little bit longer because it's Vince's name people are paying attention to. You dump Vince, that number will drop.
Well, I think once they get
it
going and they build their track base under what they've already got going on, they can quietly just move him out to pasture and no one will know. I mean, you think about the buzz. You think about the buzz when he left the company. How many people tuned in just to see what would happen? Granted, nothing really happened. I mean, roster moves got made that were like kind of cool, but if they legit move his ass out and bring in somebody and then now he doesn't own the company, he doesn't own the stock, he can't turn around and do the whole, I'll be back. I mean, I think people would tune in just to see what happens next.
Nope. I'll lay you money. I'll lay you money. As soon as they get rid of Vince, the number's going to drop significantly. Do you have faith in this new company?
I don't know anything about it. I don't know enough to have faith in him. Yeah.
Right, but you know Vince.
Sure. I mean that's a fair statement, I guess. I can see that. But being that I don't have a whole lot of faith in or a whole lot of knowledge, about Endeavor and UFC, I don't know anything about their workings. I can only go off of what I know as far as Vince is concerned.
Correct. That's what everybody goes off. Yeah. Right? It's like Coke or Pepsi. Which one changed the whole formula?
Coke.
The
worst 90 days or whatever.
Thank you.
It's a whole exhibit in their museum, actually.
Yeah. Right? So that's basically what you're dealing with now. You're dealing with regular Coke, the Coke we know and love, and then you're dealing with, what was it called, Rob? You're the Coke guy.
New Coke.
New Coke, right?
New Coke.
Yeah, but once you took the formula of the Coke out of the new Coke, nobody wanted that shit. She brought new Coke back, and it's still, sells crazy numbers. It's the same principle.
Because
everybody is used to Vince.
They brought it back as Coke Classic because they sold both of them for a little while, and then they got rid of the crappy new one, and now over years they've just renamed it Coke. But yeah, I mean, I think there's people around that. Yes, there's people around that they're like excited Vince is back and da. I mean, I think it doesn't help his case as being a mental case with him having jet black hair and a dictator mustache. It's just. But
when the ratings come out tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
the world will be able to figure out if last week was a fluke and the week before that was a fluke, or if you might be in a downturn for them. Because they've dumped 300,000 in the last 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago was the second lowest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I get, before anybody says, oh, it's Monday Night Football, I get it, but the WWE's been competing against Monday Night Football forever and a day.
Yeah, they never really used to suffer from Monday Night Football outside of 93 and 94, which is their first 2 years of being live. And plus they had their audience. They had their 3, 4, 5 million at that time. So, okay, sure, we dip under 1.2 now. It's not a cause for panic, but if they had dipped into the under 1 back then, they'd have been freaking canceled. Like, I don't know that people really understand what the dynamic is between the two companies, for one, as far as how ratings impacts them, and two, what it means for WWE to see such a dramatic drop, like the downward spiral of ratings that they've had, because it's just literally it's just a downward slope from 93 all the way to today, which is really embarrassing if you think about it.
Oh, but I think, though, with the WWE, is they lose generations of fans at a whack.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I guess it's true for all, I'm not experiencing WCW at my age now.
Mm-hmm.
So I really can't say, because again, at 50, it's really only 2 or 3 companies that I watch. But like, again, it with the WWE, it just seems like there's a cutoff point.
Mm-hmm.
Where you hit a point where you're just like, oh, this is dumb. I hit it. Next thing you know, you two hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And others are hitting it. And I don't, like, I don't, as a company, I don't see how, when their numbers drop, it can't hurt it won't hurt them. Whereas AEW's, I don't think are concerned necessarily with so many numbers. I think they're concerned with being number 1 on cable.
And in their demographic.
Yes.
That's what they
and
focus
Warner
on.
Brothers, and Warner Brothers is apparently happy with them. So, I mean, I think what was the statistic?
The one they released today?
I don't know. I think I saw this last week. It was like they were the number 1 show, and their percentage was more than like 70 combined. It was some crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's a pretty
some crazy
number.
Yeah. I mean, and again, you don't need, like, they don't need 3 million viewers. They just need enough viewers to make Warner Brothers happy. And apparently Warner Brothers is happy.
Well, and to that same point, Warner Discovery released a statement today, I believe, about the viewership for Grand Slam, for Dynamite Grand Slam, and for Rampage Grand Slam. Over 2 million viewers. So they're operating, and I've got full confidence in this, they're operating from, we're not just looking at the Nielsen ratings, which I think
Right.
everybody agrees is a dated prospect. They're looking at everything, which is what you should do. That's how you measure what you're actually doing, in my opinion.
Yes, and I mean, we've had this discussion before, but
Yeah.
I don't think the WWE and their fans go off of anything but the Nielsen ratings.
Yeah, I agree with you. The WWE side of things, typically it's all Nielsen. For AEW, it's all, well, WWE's been in business for what's the term, 50 years or whatever they use. Both fandoms are actually kind of toxic to one another. It's pretty sad.
Well, it's because it gets to be whoever screams louder.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, with the ratings, it's like, oh, well, AEW is the best in this is ranking between 13 and 22-year-olds. Well, then WWE's big in the ranking between 21-and-a-half-year-olds and, like you can skew the numbers. And if anything, you're going to find out in the next couple of weeks, now that they signed this big old deal, SmackDown. You watch SmackDown and see if it starts sucking, because they'll be like, well, we don't care. We got $1 billion coming in.
Mm-hmm.
What
are you going to do? Nothing.
Well, yeah, but again, we don't know how not Endeavor, Jesus Christ, TKO, or can I call him Endeavor? Who's Endeavor?
No, it's TKO.
That them too?
Yeah,
okay.
TKO.
So, you don't know how TKO is going to respond as these numbers start dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Is the key. Like Warner Brothers was, they got the better of the first deal with AEW. I think that, that's come out and been said, right? And AEW kind of went about, did their own thing, picked up numbers, quickly picked up the number one spot, has solidified the number one spot, has beaten the competition because they were dumb enough to put NXT against it. So like Warner Brothers is ecstatic. Now in 20 years, they may not be the same way. They could be, the AEW could be in the same boat as WWE. But for now, when you can tout the number one ranked show on television on Wednesday night, and you can tout that, the percentage of, I forget, I need to see if I can find, I forget what it was. But like, AEW, it was more like combined, like 70 shows couldn't touch it or some crap like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's, if I'm Warner Brothers, I'm loving that. And you're right. I'm going to use every modern way to count numbers that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And if the WWE was smart, they would say, that's what we're going to do. And they would get Nielsen out of everybody's little brain. Because you can't tell the WWE fans, well, there's other ways to count it, because they're going to say, no, there's only the Nielsen, which apparently is wrong. I mean, I think they hit 1 million on TV alone, but Warner Brothers is counting another 1 million from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the WWE is smart. That's what they do. Instead of dropping 300,000.
Right. They start tracking
every week.
Yeah.
Because I, to be perfectly honest, Saturday Collision, Saturday,
mm-hmm.
5 minutes before Collision goes on air. I lose power. So now I'm frantically texting.
Right.
And then, oh, wait a second. I have a great way to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me flip my phone open. Let me go to this Xfinity screen.
Mm-hmm.
And let me watch it on that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I should be counted. Because
Well, I
I am
think that's where
watching
they
it
get a lot
live.
of it. I think that's where they get a lot of it is the streaming apps, whatever's overseas. I mean, I think they're looking at it from a grand total perspective, which is, in my opinion, the smarter way to do it. And I'm honestly surprised WWE hasn't switched to that model because it would only make them look better.
Yes. Because, I mean, it's quite possible the WWE on a Monday night
Mm-hmm.
could be in the 4 million.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, with impressions on YouTube, because there's every Monday, there's crap tons of clip shows, right? Not to mention the reviews and everything. So if we're looking at true impressions from Raw, oh yeah, easily you could, which is probably why they don't sweat the Nielsen's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if either one of them do. I
Yeah.
would imagine TKO will, because they just dumped all this money into it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think if they drop another 300,000, like what last week?
Yeah.
I mean, last week was a significant drop. Then
Well,
you might get some buyer's remorse.
From 2019 to now, average-wise, 2019's average was 2.4 million for Raw on any given Monday. The current average is 1.7. That's significant. That's huge, actually. And that's what you bought. You got to look at the overall problem. Is it a Vince problem? Is it a talent problem? Is it both? Is it none? And you got to do it quick because you just bought this and you're on the stock exchange, so you're on the clock. Oh, by the way, with the announcement of SmackDown going to USA, stock for TKO plummeted in the shitter. You don't have much time to waste. You've got a federal trial coming up for Vince. That's your out clause right there for him. And then you better make some creative moves. You better find a way to pivot because if you can't, well, there's 2 companies right now that are waiting, maybe 3, for you to drop off. You can't tell me Court Bauer wouldn't love his shot.
And y'all thought I was crazy a few years ago when I said it could happen.
I still think, looking back, I never, ever thought we'd see the day, unless Vince had died, that WWE would get sold. I just didn't believe, because of Vince, because of the toxicity of Vince, I just never thought there'd be an actual buyer that go, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Well, but at that time, my thought was he would leave it to the kids.
Right, Stephanie or Shane, yeah, or Triple H.
Right, he didn't get this I'm going to sell it mindset because I don't trust my kids. Like until just a year or two ago.
Which is still the weirdest take, right? Like, why would you not trust the kids that you've touted on television, not just for like months, but for like decades?
Well, I think it's an ego thing. Yeah. I think the biggest thing goes back to when the board of directors cut him at his knees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yo, you got to go. Get out.
Right.
And he was out, and he saw for the first time his company could go without him. And it did. Because I don't know if you remember that it was like right after that, their ratings picked up because everybody was tuning in to see what would Triple H do.
Yeah.
You know? But then I totally think it was an ego revenge thing. Like, he came back with a sole purpose. He said he was going to negotiate. He's coming back to negotiate TV deals.
Right.
But you can't tell me in the back of his mind, he's like, watch me. I'm going to make it so they can't do that again. This is my company. I built this, and no one's going to run it but me.
Yeah, but like the last couple of years, there's always been this nagging rumor that the WWE was going to be sold. I think
Yeah.
Disney was in the running at one time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fox, was it Fox? Yeah, Fox.
Yeah. There were
And
weird ass rumors
NBC.
about it. Yep. Amazon, I think, was
yeah,
rumored at one point. Yep.
yeah. But and again though, like here's my thing about this. This what is kind of weird. Like you two have kids, I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
If I had built a $1 billion empire, I'm not just going to cut my kids completely out. Like, I don't necessarily have to will them that they're like lifelong CEOs,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to make sure they're still part of the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still something involved with the company.
Do you get the feeling like when the sexual assault allegations came out and sexual harassment allegations came out, that maybe they'd finally said, you know what, we're done, no more.
I don't know. I
Well,
think
I
maybe
think.
there is some back or some family stuff going on.
Well, and I think that you know Stephanie was very quick to distance herself from her father.
Yep.
You know, she was very quick to say, you know what, I'm out,
Mm-hmm.
and because she had left before. Remember, she took that leave of absence, and she's like, I'm gone.
Right.
And then Triple H was like having his health issues, and he was like, all right. Well, then when her dad got kicked, then they were like, all right, well, let's make them co-CEOs.
Mm-hmm.
And which CEO lasted? The one that was in Vince's pocket.
Right.
You know, not his daughter, not his son-in-law that he trusted to do whatever. I think Vince felt threatened with the success of NXT under Triple H. Vince felt threatened. So when Triple H was given the keys to the kingdom, per se,
Mm-hmm.
he was cutting him out. He was cutting him off at the pass every chance he got, because we instantly started getting rumors of, you know, Kevin Dunn is not reporting. Kevin Dunn's reporting still to Vince. This person's still talking to Vince. Vince, you know, this person's changing things because Vince calls him, and like Triple H was getting undermined everywhere he went.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how else could you give it to him one last time? There's no room for you at this table.
You
There's
can't
only
sit with
room
us.
for me. Right. It's the boys club. Like, Vince looked like that guy who is just, he's backstabbed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He has done everything he can to everybody that is in his way to get what he wants. And now he's sitting there at the New York Stock Exchange. And who's in the center of that goddamn picture? Triple H. Triple H and holy shit, I forgot her name. But like, where's Vince? This deal that he's all proud about, now he's off to the side.
Yeah, it is kind of weird if you look at that picture. Triple H, by the way, doesn't look extremely comfortable standing where he was. He didn't look exactly happy. Vince was, of
Well,
course, the cat that ate the canary.
because he's like, look at me, look what I did.
Right.
You know. And what I can't wait for is when, like Brian said, when they finally go, you know what, Vince? Here's this clause in the contract. Here's this. Because how many times have you seen that in movies where big bad bully gets, you know, sells his business or makes a deal, and then, oh, he didn't read the fine print.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, but there's no doubt Vince knows it's there. Like, I'll lay you money, this is another ploy by Vince. Oh, yeah, I know it's coming. This is going to sting. As soon as it happens, you'll get full control.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out the picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that conniving.
Well, he's going to be like, I've got my payday. You know?
Yeah, he didn't just get a small chunk. He got a pretty heavy amount of money. They all got bonuses out of the deal.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
Always will.
But again, though, this is the way for Vince to stay looking all dapper.
I'd still say it's Gomez Adams.
Well,
Because
that's what he wants. Like he doesn't want. I mean, why do you think he kept putting himself in these things? Like he wrote himself into that storyline with Austin Theory when nobody else gives a shit, It's just his ego. I mean, that's somebody they could have cut, and I would have been like, okay, cool. Yeah. The thing I'm looking forward to is when Vince does leave, like Brian says, and the next week they announce the new CEO is Paul Levesque. And
nope.
And Nick Khan's gone too.
Nope. Nick Khan is in it to win it, bro.
Yeah, I think Nick's the guy that stays around.
He's going to outlast Paul.
He was probably a plant from the beginning.
I don't think so, but I think he was very instrumental on helping Vince sell. Like, I don't think he was put in there by anybody to wrest it from Vince. But I think he became Vince's right-hand man. And when Vince was like, okay, ready to sell, it was probably Khan that was like, okay, I'll go find you a buyer.
I just happen to know someone.
Right.
Have you ever thought about doing business with UFC? Good idea. Good. Yeah, nice joke. Never. Vince. Think about it. UFC is owned by this company. Hello. Vince, it's either them or Six Flags. Which one?
Did you say Six Flags?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I had the sneaky suspicion that maybe Nick Khan was like a fixer, where they brought him in basically like, we got to get you ready for sale. It goes to everybody, shut up and keep your eyes straight. We're going to get this right. And then once the sale's done, now that it's done, he can safely just say, all right, well, I'm in control now. I'll make my decisions, who's going and who's coming later. He got paid huge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, again, he's the only one that I don't think I've heard is under a contract per se.
Nope.
Vince is under a contract. Triple H is under a contract, although I don't see Triple H finishing his contract. Nick, again, is, I think he's probably will soon be the guy that ultimately runs the WWE section of TKO, and that's where it'll be.
The name on the contract may say Khan, but it's Nick Khan. Ha 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 ha.
That would be funny if one day you find out they're like cousins or something.
Oh, shit. Well, okay, so to feed into that, there is a lot of chatter right now going on about AEW and Wrestle Dream because Tony Khan has touted Wrestle Dream as the end of one chapter and the beginning of a new era for AEW. Now, what in the hell does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. Somebody help me out. What's that mean?
If I had to guess, it's where Tony solidifies the number 2 position in the landscape and really makes a major push to become number 1.
So does that mean Dynamite goes to Monday?
No. It doesn't. Listen, it doesn't. They don't have to go head to head.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. While that's great and glorious because it's brought us many, many, many magical moments,
Mm-hmm.
All he has to do is start beating them in the ratings. He's constantly number one in the ratings,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you have to figure out how to put more asses in the seats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he constantly starts churning out from the Nielsen ratings 2 million. Raw gets 1.5. What does SmackDown get? 2.2.
It's 2.2, 2.3 roughly. They've been doing pretty well.
Okay, so now pay attention. All he has to do is tout that that my ratings are better than Raw's, and continue to push the product. If he can get to 2.5 and SmackDown sits at 2.2, who's the king dingaling? It's Tony Khan. He doesn't have to go head to head with them. You don't have to do it. Like, that was great for the Monday Night Wars because that gave us some amazing, incredible TV that we'll never see again.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on it, was that best for business, or was that a catalyst for the destruction of a wrestling company?
Mm-hmm.
It was the catalyst. Look at the numbers they were doing. I mean, they were up to like 9, 10, 11, 12 million people watching. So let's say that it was just Raw on Monday nights, right? And they were still pulling the same shenanigans. We're going to take WCW out the picture, right? Because we all have to admit that was amazing TV and fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So let's just imagine there's no WCW on Monday night. It's just Raw. But Raw doesn't change at all. Everything that happened. Do you realize that number would probably be in the 20 million? Because you would have people that wouldn't be swapping back and forth. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we wouldn't have had to cut out because we lost a third hour or whatever. You would be watching Raw, and it would probably be close to 20 million people. And it would be the same thing for WCW if WCW was on Tuesday night and nothing changed. I dare say WCW would have had a higher rating than them because that NWO storyline is what kicked it all off.
And may have survived a little longer.
And yes, they would have survived a little bit longer because no, they probably would have crashed about the same time. Because, again, we're not changing story. Everything plays out the same.
Okay.
Right? So the David Arquette and the other.
Oh, yeah, the Halloween Havoc finish that cut
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
All that booberific stuff stays in place.
Booberific.
But again,
I love it.
You wouldn't have had people changing the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably would have had a more consistent 21, 22 million views because that NWO storyline was hot. And they could have been on separate nights putting up those numbers. WCW still outranks them because of that NWO storyline. They still are doing better. They're just not head to head. You don't necessarily need them to go head to head for one company to beat the other. Again, let's use Coke. If you're out and about, you see a Coke machine, put your dollar in, you get Coke.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a Pepsi machine sitting right beside it. If you're a Pepsi fan, you're going to get a Pepsi fan. But they don't have to be in the same machine. It's two different machines. Raw's on Monday, Dynamite's on Wednesday. Dynamite starts beating him. He's still beating Raw. He's still generating buzz. He's still putting butts in seats. And I'm telling you, if he beats SmackDown on a consistent basis, watch out. That little dude's going to go crazy. Absolutely nuts. You're not going to hear the end of it. Like the AEW crowd is going to rise up. The WWE crowd is going to get their pitchforks and they're going to try and slay the monster. And it'll be fun to watch. They won't have to be on the same night.
Well, there's some people that can't handle. I think a reason a lot of people are trying to get it to go head to head is because they just can't handle the fact that there's so much wrestling, so much to do to have, to enjoy. There's got to be conflict. There's got to be, instead of us just enjoying what we got. Those of us who've been around a long time know AEW is a lot like WCW was. WWE's like WWE. Like, it's always been flashier. Look at us. We're dancing around. So I agree with you, Brian.
Y'all don't have to keep saying y'all agree with me. I know y'all.
Okay, cool. Just playing. I mean, hey, I'm a firm believer. I always have been. Call a spade a spade. If I agree with you, I agree with you. It is what it is. I think that
for a paycheck, I'm not paying y'all. I pay myself.
Thank goodness. Appreciate that. Yeah, you pay yourself from all your sponsorship money.
Oh wait, speaking of that, while you're listening to Corner to the Corner, why don't you enjoy a nice, refreshing Coke?
Now watch, we're gonna get copyright strike on YouTube because he said it. Damn it!
They would love me. Love me.
Here's the thing. I mean, by the Attitude Era definition of competition, that's what the Monday Night Wars was. But that's not, to your point, that's not what this era's competition might look like. This era's competition might just be as simple as, hey, Dolph Ziggler got released. I bet you we can give him a 2-year program and a 2-year contract. Bam, bring a guy like him in. Or maybe it's, hey, that indie talent, that indie tag team, that indie whatever, that's been blowing up the charts. If we put them on TV and we do like what we did with Darby Allin, well, there we go. That's money in the bank. And people start tuning in. It's getting your casuals. It's getting some competition fans. It's getting the current fan base a little bit more rabid and helping to grow that by just simply providing positive marketing and making sure your shows stay consistent. I think there's a lot of value to that. I mean, there was a good move in this past week's AEW TV. I like that because they'll ultimately get the title back to him, but I like that they made the pivot there on the fly and went ahead and gave Ray Phoenix international title. I think that's pretty cool. They really didn't have a choice. Mox wasn't moving.
I was going to say, I don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mox.
Uh-huh.
I think the initial report came out and said it happened earlier in the match.
Did he headbutt a camera?
I don't remember where, but it's supposedly that it happened earlier in the match. Because I think there's a point in the match.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell, like if you pay attention, there's the tempo of the match kind of changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and hey, good job there, Botchamania, for getting
Jeez.
banned on Twitter or whatever.
They got banned?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. They'll wear that like some kind of a stupid badge of courage. Look what we got. We got banned.
No, it happened to him like 2 years ago. The same stupid ploy apparently he pulled this time is what he pulled. This time though, he got hit from X or whatever.
Well, that'll do it. I mean, AEW and WWE, they don't have to allow these kind of clip video shows where they, diagram different things. They can, just like AEW has to Stevie Richards, actually say, no, that's our copyright. You can't use that, and have his video removed. They don't have to be nice and let you do it, even if it puts them at a positive light. They don't have to do it. It's
Oh
their
man,
product.
I think it. Yeah, I think it is on. What's the actual name of it? AEW
Botchamania?
Botches.
Yeah, it's Botchamania. That's what
No,
it's
no,
called.
this is the AEW one.
Oh, AEW Botches. I know what that is. Yeah, that's the one that puts the GIF clips all the time.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, they got in trouble for the Ricky Starks thing too.
I can't even find it now.
Yeah, I think they got their
There's
account
not
shut down.
paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't. So I don't know if you heard. So like, he's claiming that somebody sent him an email saying that we know where you live, we know what school your kids go to.
Oh
we know
yeah,
where you...
that is a whole lot of horseshit.
Yeah. And again, I don't pay no attention to it, but from what I read, thanks, Colt. A lot of them were saying that this happened to them like a year ago. I think this is 40.
Mm-hmm.
He won't produce the team, he won't, whatever. But of course, half the world is blaming Tony Khan because that's the easy thing to. I don't think Tony Khan could give two shits about AEW botches.
Right.
To the point he's going to find out where you live and threaten you and your family. And then again, I think yesterday I found out, or today I found out that his whole site had been blocked. Not blocked. What's the word I'm looking for?
Banned or suspended.
Banned. Yeah. So it's just nuts. Some of these people are absolutely wieners.
They just got too much time on their hands.
Yeah. And I guess if I want to be like social media famous or something, but
You don't have to be right. You just be first.
Lying. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just not my nature.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Apparently, Drew McIntyre being positioned for not a heel turn, but kind of a tweener role between him and Cody. Looks like my predictions have coming true. Now, if they move both of them to SmackDown.
My God, make a date. Make a note. September 25th stands right.
Damn. You ain't got to be all like that. It's okay. Oh, let's see.
But what happened
here.
with Mox? What happened with Mox? I thought about that watching clips of football this weekend. Did you see the one where the quarterback for the Bears got clocked, and then when he got up and was going to the huddle, his teammate just looked at him like, "Nah, dude, you need to go this way," and just pushed him towards the sidelines, like, "You aren't right, dude."
Well, no, I tell you what, I didn't see that, but I tell you what I did see. I saw Nick Chubb get his leg just totally destroyed. That was gross. Horrible injury.
Okay.
I was mentioning the NFL as a context of what we're talking about.
What?
Trying to open the door.
I allowed y'all to discuss it earlier. I'm not gonna do it anymore. Follow the rules.
Boo. No fun. Why don't we just stay with Grand Slam since we're talking about injuries and stuff? Adam Cole comes to the rescue of MJF. I'm not sure exactly how he did it, but he jumps from, well, I'm about to describe it. Never mind. Jumps from the ramp to the floor to make the save and somehow rolls his ankle in that process. AEW hasn't really said a whole lot else about it. Looks like they're building towards MJF and Adam Cole defending the Ring of Honor tag titles against damn it. I just had up against the Righteous at Wrestle Dream.
I think the Righteous will win this. This
I
will
do
be
too.
one of the fun.
Yeah. One way or the other, I happen to agree with you. I think that's where Adam Cole or MJF, whoever does it, because either way, it's gonna work. Especially if they have Adam Cole with the Kingdom. I still think that's what they're gonna do. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's MJF saying it's my kingdom. I could see that too.
God, like you get one track, you just try and make the narrative fit to whatever.
Well, I feel like the Kingdom, they're trying to make it play a bigger role. I also wonder if maybe Ring of Honor is not long for this world.
Why? Because they're trying to creatively get exposure for those guys.
Well, I mean, is it because of that? Is he thinking that because YouTube hasn't generated enough views because Ring of Honor or the Honor Club, sorry, hasn't been generating enough views that now he's got to put them on Dynamite and stuff to kind of prime the pump?
But Stan, do you have Honor Club?
No.
Rob, do you have Honor Club?
I do not.
I have Honor Club. So if
Okay.
one out of in Honor Club, you're probably not going to have a high enough number to really get with so much exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So why not bring them up? As long as you don't bury them like the WWE does, you can get them exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of going the other direction. That's why I'm not a fan of MJF and Adam Cole having these titles. And I think I said last time they were going to lose, but
yeah. Well, I like the Righteous. They're cool.
So I imagine eventually ROH will find a channel, but you have to generate. You have to get exposure for them first. Damn, that would be your cue.
I'm not sure what to say to that. I mean, I agree with you. You got to get them some exposure. You got to try to generate some airplay for these guys, especially so that folks, when they do turn into Honor Club, that they know who they're looking at. At the same time, I actually really liked what they did with Eddie Kingston and Claudio. One, the match was great, a lot of fun. But I was pleasantly surprised that Eddie Kingston came away as champ.
All I heard was blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. Good for him. I mean, He should lose it on Sunday. But good for him. I don't see how he gets past Shibata.
I like Shibata, man. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So what's this other rumor about maybe Tony gets New Japan also?
I don't know where that came from. Shane posted it in our chat, and I was kind of trying to look into it, trying to track it down. I guess someone on Twitter started the rumor, and it just started to snowball into maybe he will, maybe he will. I don't know who the actual owner of New Japan is. I think Gato is the guy that's kind of their lead booker. Rocky Romero's their liaison for the States, but I don't know the ownership there. I didn't even know that if that was even feasible, like that they'd be for sale.
Everything's for
Yeah.
sale for the right price.
Well, I guess so, yeah. That would be
mind you,
a lot to take on.
just a rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah, how rumors start.
Are y'all coming over Sunday? No.
What time is it at?
No, forget it. Forget it. I gave y'all a chance to answer. Y'all just him and hawed over it. Forget it.
Good Lord. Well, in that
I
case,
gotta
no,
work.
I'm not.
I gotta work for a little bit on Sunday.
What time does it start? 7?
Yeah, it's got to be at night,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'll be there.
All right. Okay. We'll get some pizzas or something.
Let me pull up the Wrestle Dream card so far. Actually, some of these matches do look really, really good. Namely, Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. That's going to be badass.
Yeah. I think maybe we get a big debut also.
You trying to bank on it, or you trying to get edgy here?
Yeah, I guess edgy would be appropriate word there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the card for it. You got Christian against Darby Allin, 2 out of 3 falls for the TNT title. I love 2 out of 3 falls matches in AEW, man. They just do them right. Eddie Kingston and Shibata. I think that's going to be a great one. Julia Hart, man. Yeah, I don't know if you saw her match on Collision or not, but Julia Hart is improving quite a bit. That could be a good match between her and Statlander.
Yeah, but I don't see how she gets past her.
Maybe she finally masters the art of the mist.
Maybe. Well, she got Sky Blue pretty good with that mist.
Yeah.
Well done. So apparently, though, there's rumors that Edge, Roman Reigns, and Cena were on the camera side of some of these past shows. Now, I'm sure moral support if it's true, but that's what I'm thinking is almost time probably for a show.
Well, I mean, I think that Edge is going to be a logical move, especially after Saturday, because Christian pinning Luchasaurus and becoming the TNT champion, even though he was calling himself the TNT champion all along. Don't scratch your head too much at that one. That's just how Christian does it. Plus, if you're not careful, he'll make fun of you or make fun of your dad. So we got the 2 out of 3 falls match there. It'd be a good opportunity for that. So far, we don't have the AEW Women's Championship on the line. Maybe they put that in 0 hour or the buy-in or whatever they're going to call it. So right now, the rumored match is Jericho and Omega against Takeshita and Sammy.
No, that's not a rumor. It's Jericho, Omega, and Ibushi versus Takeshita, Sammy, and oh my lord,
Ospreay.
who's the third? Ospreay.
So I didn't know that had been confirmed because I have a tag match here in front of me, but okay, so that had been confirmed.
Yeah, that was confirmed Friday, Saturday, on the 2.
I watched Sammy's promo explaining why he turned on Chris Jericho. Yeah, they made a good decision by putting him with Don Callis. Maybe Don can talk for him, keep him off the mic.
Well, the cool thing that I like about this more than anything is if we're adding Ospreay to the mix, we'd be closer getting Osprey coming to the States on a full-time basis? Because I think his contract is up January, maybe, or sometime before the end of the year.
Yeah, I read a report that he's actually has softened his stance on making the move to the States, where he had initially said he'd never do that. Now he's actually talking about, yeah, maybe I could be enticed. Sounds like Tony probably wrote him a check.
Well, yeah, but I think, too, like, when you're over in New Japan and you've sat on the mountain for quite a while.
Right.
And you kind of look around and somebody gives you a taste of another yard to go play in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably want to go play in that yard and solidify yourself as the best in the world.
Let's see here. So, FTR against Aussie Open. That's going to be really good. Oi, oi, oi. I'll never go to this website again. This is awful. This is a USA Today site. So USA Today has Adam Cole and MJF against Aussie Open for the AEW World Tag Titles, and then FTR against Aussie Open for the World Tag Titles. No, guys, you got that absolutely wrong. I figure FTR comes away with the victory here, but I'm thinking that their open challenge is going to be what ultimately has them dethroned. I just don't know who it's going to be against yet.
Oh, I mean, I could probably throw a name out there in about 3 seconds. Or was it 5 seconds?
Oh, geez. Yeah, 5-second pose. I gotcha. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4 fatal 4-way. Winner gets a future tag team shot. AEW World Tag Team title shot anytime is the specified stipulation. The Young Bucks versus the Guns, the Lucha Bros, and Orange Cassidy and Hook. I like Hook. I like Orange Cassidy, but I don't know. So this is a fatal 4-way. It's the Guns, the Bucks, the Lucha Brothers, and Orange Cassidy and Hook.
So that explains 4-way match for Wednesday.
Yeah.
And what do they get out of it?
Winning team gets a future tag team championship opportunity anytime they want.
And who's with Orange Cassidy?
Hook.
Oh, no, that's good. Yeah. I don't think it'll be the Guns. I think it'll be Orange Cassidy. I hope somebody squeezes Orange's head.
Oh, boo! That's not nice. Yeah, that's not very nice. Trying to make Orange Cassidy even more freshly squeezed. Is he a blood orange? Is that what you're trying to say? Hangman Page against Swerve Strickland. I think that could be match of the night.
Yeah, I just hope Swerve wins.
Really?
I'm a Swerve fan. I've said it since he's been there.
You do the dance like Prince Nana?
Oh, no. But I think it's for a time before he becomes world champion.
Mm-hmm.
And, a good solid win over Adam Cole would be nice.
Prince Nana, by the way, had Arthur Ashe Stadium on their feet.
Jesus Christ.
Nana had Arthur Ashe Stadium on their feet, dancing with him when Swerve came out.
Speaking of getting the crowd,
mm-hmm.
Did y'all hear the boos for Callis?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy shit.
The deaf guy in the back was like, I don't think they like him.
I mean, it was like Sammy's trying to talk and they're like, boo, boo. And then Don Callis starts talking. They're like, boo, you suck. It's like, holy shit. Look at my TV. I had to check the volume on it just to see if I had turned it up by accident. It's like, good God.
Did they pipe in the booze?
So far, I have not noticed AEW doing that. I'm not saying they never will, but so far, I don't think they have. WWE, when they do it, it sounds very metallic. Like you can tell right away. But so far, I haven't noticed it with AEW.
Especially when you're sitting up top in the rafters and the speaker right beside your head's like, oh, what?
I couldn't tell you if they piped it in because I'm deaf now.
What do you say?
And of course, match of the night, main event so far, Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. Supposedly, this is for the New Japan TV title.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. But
I'm going for Danielson.
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
If you're a wrestling fan of any type, I mean a true wrestling fan, not WWE, I'm talking wrestling, like submission style, chain wrestling. This is your match.
Are you talking about wrestling?
Wrestling, y'all.
I don't know. You only mentioned wrestling like 8 times in one sentence.
I'm trying to make sure I drive the point home.
About wrestling.
Wrestling,
Okay.
not wrestling. Wrestling. Get it right. Yeah, this is a dream match by any estimation. Hopefully no injuries take place between then and now. Because yeah, this could be a good one. This will only be Zack Sabre Jr.'s, is it third appearance in AEW?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Should be a good one. But that's Wrestle Dream this weekend. Man, so many pay-per-views within a short time span.
We'll just wait for next year if they expand to 12.
Warner Discovery just announced a sports division, live streaming sports on Max. NHL, MLB,
The
NBA.
Bleacher,
Yeah, BR Live, is that what it's called?
yeah.
So supposedly, we've not
Nope.
gotten any confirmation of this. Supposedly, AEW is going to be a part of that at some point.
No, they already came out and said I think AEW is not a part of it.
Oh, they did? Okay, well, then I'll shut up now.
I think they got other plans for AEW. You'll probably get more of like a streaming service with them.
Mm-hmm.
ROH, New Japan, AEW. And it'll be just like a channel on HBO Max.
That could be cool. I look forward to finding out what they do with that. Come on, computer, wake up. What the hell? That figures. Okay. Sorry, my plug on my back of my computer wasn't functioning. Weird. That is really all we got for this week. Got Wrestle Dream this Sunday. We got Collision. We got Dynamite and Rampage all leading up. All of them emanating from the Seattle area. I don't think there's really anything major planned in WWE for tomorrow or for Friday as far as any kind of major moments. So it's an AEW week. So with that being said,
Okay.
catch up with... What's up?
I just said okay. I was agreeing with you. I know you're not used to it.
Said you have the face of a cow.
Wow. I was really moved by that.
Those are his words, not mine.
Not very nice. Well, with that being said, catch up with us on the Twitter bot, or X, if that's where you prefer to be. At Rob Hefner C2C. at Brian. No. I almost said at Brian Taylor. That's funny. At Vlad Dragul C2C. That's VLADDRAGOOL C2C. Also, be sure to
Blah, blah,
check
blah.
out Vlad Dragul's Fandemonium
No,
Emporium.
why are you telling them to check it out? You haven't put nothing on it yet.
If you'll be quiet, I'm getting ready to tell you why. Because we're going to be having
Ooh.
an unboxing of a new dice game called 4 Dice Wrestling. I'll be filming that this week. And we've also got the AEW Versus card game that we'll be demoing here in the next few weeks. I might bring them on Sunday, try to dig through those. And then, of course, Brian, you've got some stuff you're going to show on here, right?
Yeah. Well, wait a second, though. You were supposed to put up the video about the little AWA figures.
Yes. I have not forgotten, but I actually have been doing some research to try to make sure it looks nice. So I'm trying to actually put together a video, not just an unboxing kind of thing. I have an idea. Yeah, an actual video.
You gonna make a wrestle?
That's right. I'm making my own ring. Here they go. Now, this has been about 20 years ago. Maybe. Not so much now. But yes, we do have some AEW, God damn it, AWA minifigs to display as well to tell you a little bit of the story behind them and give you a little bit of intel on it. But those are the things that are coming to the Fandemonium Emporium. And I said it at the top of the show. I did not want to let this show go before making the announcement. 2 weeks from tonight, we will be joined by the Master of Malice himself, the Brute, one half of Brutality Inc., Mark James, who has retired and come back. He retired just before the pandemic. He is now on his comeback trail. We're going to talk to him about, obviously, how he came up. We're going to talk to him, like, why he retired. What was his driving thought process behind that? And then, of course, what made him come back. And, of course, we'll talk about his show that's coming up. He's got tons of stuff to talk about. But, of course, for anybody that's listened to me for any period of time outside of the C2C realm, you may remember him from PW 24/7, Shoot Finish, you name the show. He's been on tons of podcasts. So this is a guy with extensive experience all across the board. Oh, and by the way, he's dabbled in some acting as well, done some movies. So that's 2 weeks from tonight. Catch up with the show at C2C Radio Show on X and C2CRadioshow.com. I'm at Stan Grubb, C2C. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next time right here on Corner to Corner. Have a great night, everybody.
And as always, it was your pleasure. And how let's give you a line there, Stan.
Damn.